All right, Mr. Customer, the first type of annuity out there is called an immediate annuity. And what that means is if you were going to take your retirement account, you're going to take, let's just say for an example, $500,000, and you're going to give that $500,000 to an insurance company, and in exchange, they're going to give you a payment of $30,000 for the rest of your life. What we call that is a lifetime payment. So this 30 grand is guaranteed for the rest of your life. And the word that we're going to use to generate this $30,000 is called annuitization. So the downside is when you annuitize, you give your 500 grand to the insurance company, which is wonderful. They'll give you a guaranteed paycheck for $30,000. The downside is, key word here, you lose control. So what does that mean? That means if you're 2, 3, 4, 5 years into it and you want to dip into this money here, this $500,000, you can't touch it. On top of that, you lose the death benefit. What does that mean? That means when you pass away, 5 years down the road, this money, the insurance company gets to keep it. Your heirs don't get to keep that money. So as we go through this presentation, you're going to realize that this annuitization is not a good thing. We always want to stay away from annuitization. Why? Because we lose control and we lose the death benefit. We can't access the money, and when you pass away, there's nothing left over for your heirs. The second type of annuity is fixed annuity. Keyword here, we're going to think of CD. It's like going to a bank. So a fixed annuity is going to give you an interest rate, a guaranteed interest rate. Usually 1 to 3% is what a good fixed annuity is going to pay. Same process here. You're going to give your $500,000 over to the insurance company, and in exchange they're going to do what? They're going to give you that payment at $30,000, which is the lifetime payment. However, how do you get that money? Again, we have to annuitize. Which, same things. We lose control, we lose the death benefit. The third type of an annuity out there is called a variable. A variable annuity. The key word here, when we think of variable annuities, is we're going to think of mutual funds. Basically, when you put your money into a variable annuity, it's going into mutual funds, which means what? It means all your money's in the market, and if your money's in the market, then you've got market risk or principal risk, which is what we're trying to avoid in retirement. So, a couple of things here with the variable annuity. Not only do we have market risk, typically with a variable annuity, the total fees are going to run you anywhere from 2% up to 5%. I have seen some as high as 5%. Most of them are going to fall right in that 3 to 4% range. And basically they're going to charge you what's called a mortality and expense charge, which we just call an M&E fee. There's an admin fee. There's sub-account fees. This is also called a 12B1 fee. There can also be a death benefit fee and an income rider fee. So industry-wide, the variable annuity is the #1 seller. Do you know why it's the #1 seller? Because of the fees. The advisor gets paid the most amount of money to put you in this type of an account. So this is by far and away the #1 seller nationwide. However, at JD Melberg Financial, we don't believe that this is an appropriate tool if you're trying to retire. Why? Because of principal risk, market risk. We're trying to protect our clients. We don't want to put them at risk. But I can tell you, it's pretty tempting to try to put people in here because you get paid so much, right? It's a pretty high it's a high fee contract to you, and part of these 12B1 fees, these sub-account fees, they come back to the advisor every year. And by the way, these fees are going to be charged whether the market's going up or down. So in a negative year, you know, not only do you go down with the market, you could also be charged these fees, which really just makes it quite a bit worse. So, and by the way, if we give the insurance company the money, the 500 grand, and we want the lifetime payment of 30K, how do we get the money? That's right. We have to annuitize again, okay? So the fourth type of annuity out there is what we call the next generation annuity. Basically how that works is this product was created by a group of actuaries, and it's trying to solve the problem that all retirees face, which is they want market growth without the downside. So we're just going to say this is the stock market here as an example, and it goes up and down, up and down. So we're going to start this account out with 500,000 just as an example. So the market goes up, 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 up like that, and then you lock your gain in after the first year. The following year, if the market goes negative, you just go sideways. You don't take a loss. You go straight across like that. You take a 0 for that year, and then the market went up again, so you go up with it. You lock that gain in. The market goes down the following year. You go flat straight across. The market goes up again the next year. You go up with it, and the market went down here, so again we just go straight across. So what that's doing is we're never taking a loss when the market goes down, but we get to go up when the market goes up. So as an example, let's just say you're 500,000, you made 10% the first year. So we went up to 550,000. Now, when the market went flat, that means the next year we didn't earn anything, but we didn't lose anything either. So your account value is still 550. Let's say it jumped up to 600 here. As an example, you lock in your 600, you'd never go below this point ever again. The market dropped, we simply went flat, so the following year we're still at 600, and then the market went up again, we're going to say you jumped up to 650, okay? And the market dropped the next year, so over here you're still at 650,000. So what the actuaries were trying to do was solve a major problem that we have in this country, which is major market crashes that are wiping out retirement accounts for retirees. People want and need the market upside without the downside. Now, what do you have to do in order to achieve that with the insurance company? Well, it's quite simple. What they're going to say is if the market goes up, they're going to cap you on the gain, meaning you're not going to get the full market gain here. And in exchange for that, you'd never have to take a loss. So we call that sharing in the gains. In exchange, we don't share in the losses. Does that make sense? Okay. So the benefits here of a next gen annuity is you get market upside without the downside. The other thing you can get inside of here is guaranteed income. But remember how we got income out of these other three? We had to annuitize. Up here, annuitization. Down here, we're not going to annuitize the contract, okay? We have something called an income rider. And basically there's a guarantee inside of here, anywhere from 2% to 10%. And I'll kind of show you how that works here in a moment. in order to get all these guarantees, generally there's a fee associated with it, which is about 40%, 0.4, which is less than a half a percent, 0.4%, up to about 1.5%, depending on which company we go with. So, and then just, we'll kind of go through how these work here in a second, but how we grow the money. The other thing is there's 3 different ways that we grow the money, how you earn your interest. There's either a cap, a spread, or a participation rate. And I'll go through these before I kind of go through this, how this works right here for the fee. So inside of your next gen annuity, you've got 3 different ways to grow the money. The first way is going to be a cap. A cap, just for an example, we're going to say is 4%. What does that mean? That means in this particular strategy, you can never earn more than 4%. So we're going to say the market earned 5%, okay? But you're capped at 4. So what does that mean? That means you earned how much? 4%. How much did the insurance company make? The difference between these two. So we'll put the insurance company over here. They made 1%. Let's say the stock market went up 7%. Again, you hit your cap of 4. And the insurance company makes a difference. They make 3. Okay? Now, let's just say as an example, the market went up 3%. So you didn't hit your cap. What does that mean? That means you go up the full 3 and the insurance company made 0. Now, if the market returned a negative rate of return, just as an example, let's just say negative 10%. Remember on the next gen annuity how we don't go down, we never take a loss. So we call this a cap, but you also have a floor, and your floor is always going to be 0%. So 0% is the lowest rate of return contractually that you can receive. In other words, you'll never take a loss. So if you ever see the market go negative, it went negative 10 next year, or let's just say we hit another 2008 market crash and it went down 40%, the lowest rate of return that you'll receive is 0%. And the insurance company would also receive the 0 in that scenario, okay? The second way that you can earn money is called a spread. Call it a spread rate. Spread rate, for this example, we're just going to say is 2%. So what does that mean? So we're going to follow the market down here. Let's say the market did 5% again, just like up here. And you, and the insurance company, out of this 2%, the insurance company keeps the first 2%, okay? The insurance company makes 2, and you make whatever's left over. So the difference between 2 and 5 is 3%, that's right. So you make 3%. Let's say the market went up 12%. Big year. The insurance company keeps the first 2, that's right. And you get the remainder, 10%. There you go. So there, with a spread rate, you're getting the difference between, they keep the 2% and then you get whatever's left over. Now, an example, if the market went, let's just do a low one real quick. 3%, the insurance company gets the first 2, okay, and you get whatever's left over, which would be a 1% return for the year, okay? Now, again, if the market went negative, we have a floor inside of this one as well, because you can never go backwards. So the market loses 10. What's your floor? 0%. And the insurance company would get 0% as well in that scenario. Now, the third way you can make money inside of this contract is something called a participation rate, which we just call a par rate, okay? Participation rate, or a par rate, we're going to say is 50%. In this example, again, we've got the market here. Let's say the market did 5 again, so we're going to say 5%. Now, this participation rate means you get to participate in 50% of whatever the market earned. So if the market earned 5%, that means you and the insurance company each get 2.5%. Okay? Market goes up 10, you make 5%, they make 5%. If the market only goes up 3%, as an example, you'd make 1.5, they'd make 1.5. If the market lost 10, same scenario, you can never take a loss if the market is negative. So you take a 0, they take a 0. And then the last bucket is just something called a fixed rate or a declared rate. And basically this is inside of your contract any given year. If you don't feel like going for any of these, you can always get a fixed rate, and that's generally between 1 and 3%. Some people just put a small percentage of their money in here, kind of works like a 1-year CD, and then the next money you can move your money out into these different buckets. So now this might seem confusing to you, and I understand that, and you might not know where to put your money. And so what we do is we do an annual review with you every year. You'll get a statement in the mail, and we'll come out and we'll figure out what's the best strategy to grow your money based on what's happening in the marketplace and really how you're feeling. I have some clients that just want, maybe they're at 2.5% and they just put it all in there and they want to get 2.5%. Other people, obviously want to go for the high gain, so they'll go with the spread rate, and they'll hope for the high rates of return where they can get a double-digit rate of return. So I'll help you make those decisions from year to year and how to allocate your money. Now, going back to this market upside without the downside, guaranteed income with an income rider where you're getting a guarantee of 2% up to 10%, and your fee inside of this is going to be 0.4 up to 1.5. You're going to have, let's say for the same example, that 500K. We're going to say that's your account value. On this side, and over here you're going to have your guarantee. Now these companies are going to offer you bonuses. At the end of the day, I'm not too concerned about what the bonus looks like. Some of them are just trying to entice people to do business with you. But just for illustration purposes, let's just say that the bonus is 8%. So they're going to give it 8% on the $500,000. So what does that mean? That means your account is going to start out with $540,000. Okay? On the guaranteed side, it's also going to start out at $540,000. Now, this guaranteed side, remember I told you it has that 2 to 10% guarantee. So we're going to say for illustration purposes only that this guarantee rolls up at 7%, kind of like a fixed rate of interest every single year. Okay, so the first year we got our bonus, we went up to $540,000. At the end of the first year, let's see if we can get this pulled up. Let's just say the market went up 10%, just hypothetically speaking. So at the end of the first year, you're going to have $594,000 in this account. On the guaranteed side, we're going to roll up at a guaranteed 7%. So that number is $577,800. I'm going to show you how these two sides compete. Since this side over here, your account value, is higher than your guarantee, if you wanted to turn on your income without annuitizing, remember, the insurance company is going to base it on this higher dollar amount, okay? So these two are in competition with each other. This one's growing at 7%, this one grew at 10. So in this scenario, if you turn on your income, we would start on this side. The second year, let's just say the market was negative. You went down 10%. Okay, we didn't take a loss, you know that, you have a floor, right? So what would your value be the next year? That's right, it'd still be $594,000. You have $594,000, and on this side, we've got simple interest at 7%. So 7% times 577,800 bucks is 618,246 bucks. Okay. Now in this particular year, the 618 is higher than the 594. So that means the insurance company would give you your income based on this higher dollar amount right here in this particular year. Okay. If the market went up again, let's say 10%, and you were going to wait 4 years to turn on your income, that 594 would grow to 653,400, and the 7% simple interest rate, 618,000, goes up to 661,523. Now in this scenario, look at how powerful that simple compounding interest is. 7%, this side is higher. So why is this relative? Because we want to figure out how much to pay you, and so the insurance company, they have predetermined calculations, each individual company that I'm able to look at, and they're going to say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, if you're anywhere between the ages of 55 and 60, we're going to give you 5% of whatever this dollar amount is. So if we turn the income on right here, they're saying that they would guarantee you a 5% payment of this amount right here, okay? And if you're 60 to 65, just as an example, maybe that goes up to 5.5%. And if you're 65 to 70, you know, again as an example, they're going to pay you 6%, okay? So that's a guaranteed rate. So when I look at bonuses, I don't really look at, you know, how high the bonus is necessarily. What I'm looking for as your advisor is I'm looking for who's going to give you the highest payment. So who has the highest percentage roll up, you know, which one's going to pay you the highest lifetime payment for the rest of your life. That's what I'm looking for. Now the interesting thing is, as soon as you turn on this income, this value over here is going to go ahead and stop, so it doesn't go up beyond that once you turn it on. However, if this side over here, let's say 5-6 years down the road, continues to grow up, and let's just say it gets up to $675,000, this value is now higher than this value. So what that means is the insurance company is going to bump up, and we call it a step up. They're going to give you a step up in value where your income would actually increase. It would go up a little bit. However, I don't want you to make any decisions on that. We want to go with what's guaranteed. So we're looking for whatever the guaranteed amount is that's going to give you the highest payout, which is guaranteed for life. So that's the basics of it. And the reason that this is so important is when we look at your life, you know, you're starting out down here and you're on this uphill battle, and what are we working for? You know, we're working for money, right? Eventually you want to hit this plateau, your golden years, as they say, which is retirement. So it's this long plateau where you're no longer working for money, and this money needs to last you till the end of your life, which is way out here somewhere. And then where do you want your money to go? You want it to go to your heirs, okay? So what happens in your golden years? You're no longer working for money. We reverse the roles. Your money is working for you, okay? So now, you said you're 3 to 4 years out from retirement, so you're right here. Somewhere on this path, you're hoping to make this jump relatively soon, right? Am I understanding that right? So here's the problem in 2019, almost 2020, is if we look back through history, back before 2000 in the tech bubble, the market was going up, 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 right? So the market kind of went like this. It was up, 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 up. We hit a high water mark, and that was in the year 2000. And then the market crashed. And when it crashed, did it go down fast or did it go down slow? Pretty much straight down, right? So it went straight down. And then the economist said 7 years for it to bounce back. So it bounced back, came back up, came back up. By 2008, we were slightly higher than we were in the year 2000. So we hit a new high water mark. And then what happened? That's right, the market crashed again. So it went down again. Okay. Now the market, the economists again predicted that it would take 7 to 10 years to recover. However, this being the Great Recession, the government stepped in and they printed money. Do you remember what that's called? Quantitative easing. That was the printing of money. Okay, so they pumped money into the market and it went up and up and up and up. Do you know what the Dow was back in 2000? It was around 12,000 points. Do you know where it is today? 28,000 points, right. So on a graph, this is kind of what it looks like. We printed money as a government, and now we are somewhere up here at 28,000. So we've more than doubled what we were back in 2008. So here's the threat, is if you're right here and you want to retire, you want to 3 to 4 years jump over here to retirement, you want to stay here, but if one of these happens again and you lose a good portion of your assets, where are you going to go to get more money? That's right, you're going to have to go back to work. So in 2000 and 2008, if you were right here and you went through one of these, what that did is that kicked your retirement out 7 to 10 years longer. So you tried to retire out here, and a lot of people are still working, you know, and if you waited that long and then you got to here, and it just so happened that the market crashed when you're early in a retirement, you lose half of your assets, you can't afford to make it all the way out here to the end of your life, meaning you'd run out of money. So that's where the next gen annuity is really designed to solve all your problems, right? It's going to give you a guaranteed lifetime income. It's going to allow you to make money when the market goes up with never taking a loss, and really solve all the needs that, you know, current retirees are looking for. Thank you so much.